James Woods can say is, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When a Bowen turned into a vampire, all James Woods could say was, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he became Peter's best friend, they sat around the house and said, piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. And you know that James Woods prices his lines real well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, a piece of candy, piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When they know that he's nectar, the best of them all, when he says, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. Reese's Pieces on the floor and watch him come a saying, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. And you know that James Woods prices his lines real well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Oh! Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. Piece of candy.
That girl, we have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest.
I am a revolutionary, and you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people.
As a councilwoman, do you think you should really be in handcuffs? Does that send a good message? Are you breaking the law?
This is about political leadership. All the best activists in the past and in the present have put their lives on the line to fight for the rights of workers.
They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later, because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Welcome one and all to this fun little adventure we call Extra Bulla. I'm your host, Uncle Warren, as the screen should tell you. I'm a little blurry. Come on, magic camera. I know I'm not a looker, but let's focus up. Okay, there, robots. Anyway, happy Thursday night. We were off last week. Technical difficulties. It was my fault. I did not have Zoom, and I was supposed to have Rick Overton, and the only thing he had was Zoom. So we're going to get him next week, next Thursday, week from today. We're going to have Rick Overton, famous, legendary comedian, actor, activist too. He's one of the good guys. Be looking forward to talking with him. Couple of things, couple of news items. I'm going to be on next week with Misty on Bitch. Comrade Misty has invited me to come on Bitch, so I'm looking forward to that. I have a few gripes. It's mostly about the landlord. I don't know if she can do anything about it, but we're going to see. Maybe we can record something, and then I can let my landlord listen to it, and he will be swayed by her arguments, because apparently mine suck. Also, you may notice some little extra goodies here. We got this little P right here, and then there's this little P right here. Come on, science. Oh, what is these? What is these? I don't know. This show is now part of the brand new supergroup Indie News Network. Let's take a look at these guys. We got the All-Stars here. Robert Durd and his Political Fight Club. Tara Reid, she is with us. She also has a Substack, I believe. Elias Cepeda, Todd from Be the Change, Millennial Splaining, Blue Moon Red Wine, Gnomes for Truth, Kamau Makwano, you may know him as Colin, Tatame's Diary. Noli D, what's up, sweetie? Reefer After Dark, my buddy Reef Breland. Daryl from Black in the Empire will have his own show. Everybody knows who Indie Left is. Yours truly right there, The Dissident, and Kobe from Pro Peace Report. I kept saying Poe when I was trying to rehearse that earlier. So anyway, to help me out with the talking duties tonight, my special guest, you know him as Franco from Franc Analysis. He's on YouTube, he's on Rockfin, he's on Odyssey. He was the third man on the moon, and he invented time travel. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Franco. What's up, buddy?
Uncle Warren, aka War Deer, thank you for having me on, man. It's great to finally meet you. I've seen you in the live chat. I've seen you on Twitter, although I know that your account just got suspended. It's great to be here, though. We can vent on that a little bit. I've experienced some unfortunate censorship on my accounts as well recently.
It was crazy, man. So it was like, so there was a little backstory for those not in the know. There was Keith Olbermann was responding to somebody regarding the elections in Nicaragua, I believe, and I think Keith called the guy Daniel Ortega's whore. I think it was something like that. So everybody else in the chat said, "You're a whore too." I called him a balcony whore because he does that crazy shit on his balcony wearing a 3-piece suit and yelling like, you know, kids are in his yard and shit like that. The fuck, man? So anyway, long story short, my Twitter account got, you know, RIP War Deer ENT, but, you know, tricks, always tricks up the sleeve, so you can't keep a good asshole down like that. So yay for us, and shit on Keith Olbermann and Hassan too. That guy. You hear about all that bullshit today?
I saw it. First thing I'm gonna say is, who cares what Hassan has to say? The guy, like, how is he relevant? Right? It's just all these little kids going through a phase. They don't know what's going on. They just get entertained by this guy who sounds like he knows what he's talking about to them, because they don't have that knowledge. They don't have that experience of what's going on politically in this world. I did say something though, in response to that, because I mean, he's coming out of the woodwork to say something about this event to Black activists, just to own Jimmy Dore. And you can give some constructive criticism about this, which, you know, I will do when I'm on there. I would say that we can't just only do a general strike. We got to do even more than that. We got to start going deeper into the rabbit hole about what's going on. Who exactly is it that we're fighting? What is their agenda exactly? Yeah, we know that they're oppressing us, but how exactly are they doing it? What are they going to do in the coming months and years? We got to know thy enemy, right? That's what's written in what's that one book that everybody cites? Art of War, right?
Oh, The Art of War, Sun Tzu, yes. Know thy enemy.
I said, you tell people to vote for their oppressors, who are the root cause for why we have strikes. Right? We have strikes because we have people like Joe Biden and all these other corporate Democrats, in addition to the Republicans, which, you know, Hassan and all of us agree are also stooges for the corporations. But you're still in the two-party illusion if you're telling people to vote for the lesser of two evils. Our problems are not going to be solved that way. It's not even harm reduction. It's just a continuation, and it's giving people an illusion of victory when really, if you look at the legislation written by the lobbyists that's being passed under a Democratic administration, there's a lot of stuff in there that's going to be oppressing us. It's going to advance surveillance. It's going to continue to enrich big oil, big pharma, etc. Then I said, then you simp for politicians who gaslight for the corporations we're supposed to be fighting against. He simps for AOC, who of course defends Nancy Pelosi, who works at the behest of corporations. Therefore, AOC, you may call it directly or indirectly, is gaslighting for these corporations, right? she's giving people false senses of victories when she goes over there to the Capitol, telling people that, oh, we've won, we were able to extend the moratorium, even though that in reality it's just kicking the can down the road. People still owed rent. People had already been evicted for months. These politicians are careerists. They're not actually in it to help us. So that's why people are getting motivated to organize events like this, like what Fred Hampton leftists are doing. So you can push to do more. Like when you go on there, you're showing solidarity with them and saying we should do more, we should community organize. When we have these direct action events and we're giving people food and we're giving food to people who are there, let's not give people food from McDonald's or food from Amazon or Walmart or wherever that's from a corporation, because then that's kind of counterproductive, because we're still giving money to these people that we're supposed to be fighting against. Right. We're supposed to be taking power away from them. Yes. And they do talk about growing your own food and mutual aid, but this should be part of the conversation even more. So that's coming at it in a genuine way, but that's not what Hassan Piker is doing, right? He wants to shut this down so that people can just keep watching his show or shows that are adjacent to his, like Humanist Report and all these other people that sit for AOC and tell them to vote for the lesser of two evils. So I told him, we are definitely not the same. So yeah, I agree with you in that we're not the same. Yeah, we're actually more aware of the problems than you are.
Yeah, I mean, he says, well, you can't be just tweeting and stuff all the time. He's on Twitch or whatever. He's like, in his little cave, with his money that he made off of that. And, he talked about, well, I raised money for, for direct action for strikers and stuff. And like, well, that's good, but don't shit on somebody else's efforts. I think what he thought. Right, exactly. Well, I think what he thought, and what was it? Owen Higgins he was quote tweeting him. So I think they thought that this was going to be this 3-day weekend, or this 3 days was going to be a general strike, period. Right? Like, we're going to do a general strike on YouTube. I mean, no, it's a general strike summit. And you're talking about ideas how to, like you said, not only just for mutual aid and strikers, but like getting maybe, teaching people how to grow food and stuff like that.
All right, this makes it look even more ridiculous. He thought that they were doing a general strike online, like a virtual general strike.
I think that was the assumption. I can't exactly, and no one even whiffed at that notion that there was that it was a general strike going on. It was a general strike summit. In fact, I do have their promo with all the folks. You wanna check it out and see what's on. This was I think Sabby tweeted this out earlier.
I loved it. Yeah, she sent it to me and then she told me to amplify it, and I shared it. But she didn't even have to ask me. If I saw it, I would have shared it too.
Right.
Really well made.
Yeah, she didn't ask me, but I stole it anyway. So let's show this. This is what's going on. It's tomorrow. It starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. 12-hour days. And we'll talk when we get done watching it. We'll talk about when you're going to be on it. Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick. Yeah. Man, that's
Stacked.
That's a lot of brain power, yo.
People.
You got the all-stars from INN. You got the Mikasa Tsukasa. Yeah.
I'm just laughing at Hassan's idea. Like, what does he think people are gonna be doing? Like, yeah, we're having a general strike. Like, people are just gonna be like in front of their computers or in their phone. I don't know, laying down on their couch. Like, yeah, I'm striking right now.
Why
would you think that?
I don't have a sign. So I'm gonna use like the back of this, and I'm I'm gonna go. We're on strike.
Yeah.
We're on strike. But see, I got a green screen back here, so I can fool people and make it look like I'm at an actual event. But yeah, I'm comfy, man. And we're like, yeah, strike, bitches. Yeah, he's not exactly
more like a guilty conscience. Like that's something that he was probably thinking of doing, and then he's thinking that's what Fred Hampton leftist came up and like, oh, that's what I wanted to do. Having a virtual revolution.
It's funny. They might actually do that though. Like, cause they don't listen to people with common sense, right? So they probably got it set in their minds that it's going to be like a digital protest. They said, I bet we could do a better digital protest. And then they end up doing some stupid bullshit and and everybody else is looking at them like they're fools. So I don't know, man. It's a guy once said, you can't fix stupid, so what are you going to do? But I'm paying homage to you tonight because I'm wearing my hat backwards because I've noticed that you rock that look too. But you're all like clean cut. Yeah, there we go.
I got to take off my headphones in order to put it on the right way, but I don't feel like doing all that and then not being able to hear you.
You're fine, man. Don't worry about it. I was looking at myself, and I kind of look like a Dollar Tree. What's his name? A Dollar Tree Willie Nelson. So, and nobody, maybe because it's red and it kind of looks like a bandana a little bit. I told you.
That's a nice hat.
I got this. Let's see. I got this for free. All right. It's a Tops hat, so I'm not sponsored, but when we went to, me and my lady friend went to Comic-Con a few weeks ago, well, it was last month, and over at the Javits Center. So it's 4 days of just nerds. Just, that's all it is. It's just, you're just swimming in an ocean of nerds. And sometimes you can like play some games and stuff, and sometimes they give you free shit, so I got a free hat. But I got to tell you, I got this vodka the other night. Me and my girl, we went to this the storytelling. It was spooky stories around the campfire is what it was called. But it was in like some courtyard of a building, so it wasn't quite the woods. But anyway, and I told a story about this old house that we lived in when I was a kid, and then one night it was stormy and the lights went out and there was boom, boom, boom. People were banging on the door, but you look outside, there wasn't anybody there. So anyway, apparently I scared the shit out of people enough for them to give me a free bottle of vodka. So, yay. But I don't really drink that much anymore. Awesome. I had a little, this first time I had a little bit, just like a little pee-pee tonight. And it's the first time I had some sauce in a while, so I'm feeling a little jolly. So, and I'm glad, knock on wood, all the shit's working. That's all I'm worried about. So, but the moral of the story is, if you can get free shit, that's cool, but not all free shit is good. So, just let the buyer beware there. So I want to ask you, you're in the DC area. And I have some video here that I want to show because I loved it when you were at the Capitol when Cori Bush, Congresswoman Cori Bush, was protesting. Fundraiser. I mean,
she did that immediately after she was done there. Send a text.
I got a text. Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 hours after she bolted. It was like, "Hey, y'all got some money for me?" It was like, I had to, no, disappointment. Big time disappointment. No. But, you know, at the way the squad's been going, I've been, you know, it seems like they're more and more, they're proving their detractors right. You know, the ones at first they were saying, they're not going to do anything. They just sounded like sour grapes, and now they sound like prophets, you know, like they predicted the future. And it is disappointing, you know, especially like you need people in there. It's not like we can go up in there and do some shit. You know, we supported these people. We put them in the office to help us. And it's just all they're doing is helping themselves, you know?
They're doing to a lot of young people and a lot of people who call themselves progressives what Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama did to a lot of our parents. Yeah. They're fulfilling their gaslighting people into voting for the Democratic Party or keeping them in disillusion. And we know that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are both owned by the same people. So by voting for them, their problems aren't being solved. But they're getting promised by AOC and Cori Bush that they will be solved. But
they were making comparisons.
I don't know what to call it. Intellectual laziness with some people. I will definitely call it that for these commentators that make excuses for these politicians. But a lot of these citizens a lot of these other people that are falling for this who aren't commentators, we got to find a way to break them out of this matrix. Some of them think that they're out of it when they know that corporations run everything, but then they're still stuck there if they're in this two-party illusion, thinking that, the Democrats are going to solve our problems if we vote for them. So what do you think we can do? How can we break them out of this two-party illusion? Like, I think planting some seeds in them is a good way. But do you think that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, do you think that it can be counterproductive to be fighting with these people too much?
Well, I mean, the people that are the actual grifters, no, they're totally invested in it. But if there's we're talking about honest actors that have been led astray,
yeah,
you know,
what I mean.
What you have to do is it's just like anything else. It's like, and this is what I always was brought up with, is like you lead by example, right? Because you and I both know as well as anybody else that the talk without results, you know, it's just pointless, right? So what we have to do, and, you know, you're younger than I am, so I'm like a Gen X guy, so I have to not only try and sway my Gen Xers, but those that are younger than me that for some reason might listen to my opinion for some reason, you know, you have to show them, you know, walk the walk, you know, like what you're doing on your show. I see you have roundtables and stuff all the time. You're trying to find solutions and stuff like that. You're putting in the work, and you're starting to see more and more of the younger people who see that AOC and Cori Bush and the squad and all these other folks are not producing. Meanwhile, you are producing. You know, you're bringing education. You're bringing people together so that they can communicate, and that's very important to me. That's one of the reasons I got this little shitty show, is to bring people together and to help spread the word that of the things that people can do to help, like with direct action and you know, mutual aid and that sort of thing. But that's the thing, is you got to have actions, because if you're not even like, you know, if you were doing if you're doing this on the internet, then those people are just going to be like, no, these people are clowns. I'm not going to listen to them, because we see that, we have common sense, and we see the clowns, and we're like, no, we don't believe what you're saying because you're full of shit, you know?
I'm really believing that Hassan Piker thought of that, and then he just thought that Frampton leftists were doing the thing that he was planning to do, and he was salty about it.
I think him being in the Vaush, you know, Twitch basement, doing his thing. He's just, the bubble is like this big, and it's filled with all the people that think all the nonsense he does. So when you actually try, I think you're telling the truth, and once it hits that barrier, it tries to go through, and then by the time it reaches inside, it's a totally different message because of the barrier that they have around them, the filter that filters out all the truth, and they just hear what they want to hear. You know what I mean? Because they have to hear what they want to hear, because if they hear the truth, then the jig is up for them.
It's too uncomfortable for them.
It's too uncomfortable, right? And you can't grift off the truth. You can't make money off the truth. People's telling the truth all over the place. Ain't nobody getting paid. But, you spin it a right way, and then you can get paid off of it. But then again, I'm just cynical. So
the truth is often unpopular, especially when it comes to politics. So that's why, you can't really grift off the truth, like you said, right? Usually you're going to be one of the first people to expose something, and it's going to make some of these people who hero worship politicians, or I don't know, whoever is politically involved, it's going to make them feel uncomfortable. It's like, what? This isn't, because in their head they picture it's like, okay, this is the way forward, I'm behind them, like they're really excited about it. And then when you're telling them something that exposes these people that they're hero worshiping, their dreams get crushed. They're like, oh man, this isn't, no, there's no way, that can't be it. No, they're still a hero. They're thinking that subconsciously, right?
There has to be a hero. There has to be a hero, because they're thinking, I can't do it. So I have to have someone I can believe in that's going to do this, Like, for example, I'll say, I was a Bernie guy for a long time. And I think I was joking with Misty or Fee, I can't remember, but I said when they were talking shit about Bernie on Twitter, at first I was pissed off. I was like, hey, why are you attacking my guy? But then I read why they were saying he was such a disappointment. And then you started seeing for yourself what a disappointment he was. And Joel's my friend. And, that whole bullshit. And that whole house of cards fell for me. But then again, I'm not somebody that's easily swayed, because Bernie had the legit past of, working, for the people. He wasn't perfect. But out of all the cats that were in that lineup for president, he was like the least rotten apple in that bunch, Mm-hmm. So when you find out all this shit that he isn't all that, and he's not trying, he doesn't want a revolution, he just doesn't want to be compared to Ralph Nader, then you start to think, you know what, Bernie, you're kind of a fucker, I'm thinking, you're kind of either you didn't believe what you were doing for 40-something years, or you're just totally abandoning it. But one of those has got to be true, and you have to accept the truth about people like him. You have to accept it about AOC and all these others that have just talked the talk and have done absolutely nothing, if not have just made things maybe worse in some ways,
It requires a lot of open-mindedness. And being able to in a way, you're self-criticizing yourself. You're like, man, I was wrong here. I thought Bernie was the way, or I thought AOC was the way, or what I thought, I don't know what other example I could bring up right now, Cory Bush, or I thought Andrew Yang was the way. And now in my case, in 2019 to 2020, I thought Tulsi Gabbard was a way forward. Now I'm seeing that I was wrong on that. So we have to be open to self-criticism if we're willing to be committed to the truth. If you're committed to the truth, then you get closer and closer to finding out what's the most efficient solution. You're not going to come to an efficient solution. Your problems are not going to be solved if you're not open to that.
You're not going to grow either. You're not going to grow as a person.
You're not going to grow. Exactly.
Yeah. But speaking of,
props to you for being open to hearing out what Misty and Fiorella were saying too.
Well, yeah, because I you know, at first it was, I just thought maybe that, I'll be honest, I just thought they were just being bitches. All right, so, you know, I was like, I didn't know him very well. I didn't know him at all. I think I wasn't really on Twitter that much either. And so I was kind of new, and I was like, what are these bitches talking about? And then I started reading, and I told him, I said, I started hate reading and hate watching their videos, but then I just grew to love them because, like, yeah, I'm not one of these people that's just going to, like, stick to my guns. If I hear new information, you know, that's a game changer, you know, and you have to do that. I went from the 90s being a Bill Clinton super fan, all right?
Oh, man.
I know, right? You just want to take a bath after hearing that.
Though.
Right. Well, I mean, still are, right? People my age, you know, I'm in my 50s now. So it's like a lot of people my age. That's another thing, too. You get set in your ways and you don't want to know any new information. You just think this information that these sources that you've trusted for years, like the mainstream media, are telling you the truth. And, you know, I was a news guy back in the 90s. I worked at local television stations down south. I did various things, but when I got to news produce, that's when it was great because especially like if we were having tornadoes and stuff. Where I was working in North Mississippi, which is basically the ass end of Tornado Alley, right? You know, you got Oklahoma and you go all that flat area up there. So we were constantly having like bad weather stuff, but you felt the camaraderie of the community as we were out there, you know, trying to, you know, going to places that were damaged and like giving people information. Like if your water's out, this is the telephone number to call. If your telephone's out, come here to so-and-so, we've got supplies for you, that sort of thing. So it was like, what I see going on now with young people and with you guys on YouTube and all the you know, Rockfin and stuff like that, putting the word out there. And it just reminds me of those days. And I felt so good in those days because we were doing good work. And now associating myself with people like you and Fee and Misty, like FHL and INN and Hardlands Media and everybody else, all the rock stars that care about poor people, that care about making this world a better place and not just talking about it, you know? But people, yeah, you got to walk. It's like we said, you got to walk the walk. You got to show people this is how you do it, you know? And like I said, on your shows, you're giving information, instructional stuff, but you're also talking to people who they have ideas too. And that's how you do it. You just got to permeate the space with all these common sense ideas and stuff that's like, look, we have to do this. Electoral politics is not going to get us anywhere because we keep electing the same damn people over and over and they keep getting big checks and we keep getting fucked. So, but when we do direct action, we ourselves are helping people. We're not depending on these assholes to do it, but we're still putting pressure on them because, you know, fuck them. They don't get a free ride. They, you know, we got to still be on their ass too, but we know not to depend on them. You know what I mean? We have to depend on ourselves. And speaking of hard ass mofos, you, my friend, I know everybody's seen these videos like 1,000 times, but when I was putting these together, it's about 3 minutes, so hopefully it's not too long. And just hearing you go after these people, chef's kiss, baby. I just love that shit. You know, it's like, yeah, man. It's like I'm watching a Rocky movie. It's like, man, I want to be in there too, beating the hell out of that motherfucker. Come on, bitch. You know what I mean? All right, I'm getting too excited, or maybe it's the booze. All right, let's watch this real quick and enjoy this fun.
And there is AOC. AOC, is it okay if I get like a question or two? Question 2, what's the next steps? What are you guys going to do to pressure your colleagues? How are you going to pressure your colleagues? Why are you guys doing this last minute?
You'll find the
Why weren't you guys doing this for months?
Necessarily wrong. But wake up your true American spirit. Stop putting up with this guy, this crime, this complete evil
Wow.
crime.
That's it. So you just show up for a photo op and that's it. You're not actually going to fight in Congress. No, what is she going to do? You want to talk about it here? We can discuss right here very civilly.
And I love flowers, so just so you know, it's just my thing. It's flowers. Please no.
Cory Bush, will you hold your colleagues accountable who are giving money to war instead of giving money for housing? Will you give money? Will you tell your colleagues to stop giving money for war?
We're not taking questions right now, but thank you.
We deserve an answer for that, though.
And because the Congresswoman decided to put her body on the line and said, I can't leave work. I can't leave work. St. Louis sent me here to do this work. I can't leave work. I can't go back to St. Louis until I deliver this for them. And she put a chair right here and said, I'm not leaving, and told all her people I'm not leaving, and told these incredible members of Congress she's not leaving. It galvanized a national moment and movement, and it captured the imagination of people across the country.
Don't you change you to be somebody. You are already somebody. You just make that thing as great as it needs to be because the world is waiting for you.
Right.
Yeah. Woo!
One of the things that I like to say is that we come together for reasons known and unknown.
Yes.
We are gathered here for reasons known and unknown. And we showed up. People said, how are you going to do it? What's your 10-point plan? What are you doing 5:30 p.m. on Saturday? How many days are you going to be here? Yeah, but this and that. But what about?
Will people's rent be forgiven?
None of that matters.
Will people's rent be forgiven?
We're going to figure that out.
Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'll keep pressuring. Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. The CDC just announced an eviction moratorium, and what we're here is for our reasons known and unknown.
This is only ceasefire. This is only ceasefire. This is not a victory. People still owe money. People still owe money. People still owe money. No, this is only ceasefire. People still owe money. What are we going to do in 90 days?
Turn on some music now.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. Here comes Franco. He's going to ask some real questions. That's what it was, man. They were like, all those people around like, we really thank you for coming out here and sleeping in your car while everybody else was on the steps. And we was eating Nabisco products and shit. Like, man, read the room. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you for going after her like that. And Colin, too. You know? Mm-hmm. He was like, it's just so surreal when you see that. And then you see what, like, because you weren't out of order with what you said. You were asking just straight up questions. Like, what about these people? And then all of a sudden, Cory's like, let's turn on some music. And everybody, it's just, it looked like, when I was a kid, I remember seeing like on the news about Jim Jones, right? The cult leader down in South America. And those people that were his followers kind of remind me of these folks. Like the same energy, you know what I mean? Like they're just, yes, you can do no wrong. Oh, sweet AOC. But then you ask them, well, what are they doing? And they give you these garbage answers like, well, they don't have enough people. We have to elect more progressives so they can.
We have to help them.
First of all, you need to learn some math, all right? Because, they have like the squad or whoever, they can have like probably like 8 to 10 people or something. They can cover the spread of that slim majority. If they were smart and they were really invested, they could have ran the table and got us a whole bunch of shit. But you see them for their deeds, and or their lack thereof deeds, and and that's how you know them,
I remember there were like a couple of days before that, during the weekend, because that was, I can't remember if it was like a Tuesday or what, when we saw like dancing, shutting me off. There were people saying that there's going to be people from New York coming in, that there's going to be activists from New York that are going to be bussed in. And then I was thinking, AOC is helping out activists to come here. They never arrived. I didn't see anybody arrive on a bus from New York. I didn't hear anybody say that people arrived on the bus from New York. These were all students, like political science students and interns from Washington, D.C. There's not a single homeless person there that I saw. They didn't give a single homeless person a voice to speak. How is that an actual event that's standing up for homeless people or people who are about to lose their homes? It was all for show, right?
Well, yeah, and then what happened after she left, right?
We got a text message from Cori Bush immediately after that,
wanting that money.
And that eviction moratorium didn't even last the 60 days. It lasted 30 days when the Supreme Court lifted it. And did they go back to the Capitol immediately after that to keep protesting?
They didn't.
Not a single peep ever since then. They just put out a tweet and it's like, this is wrong, and then that's it.
It was like it wasn't a protest; it was an event. I mean, I've been to enough events to know what a fucking event was. That was a fundraising event, or at least a prelude to one.
And the people there are just so hypnotized, and it's a reflection of how the United States, just the society in general, like you see it all over the place, billboards, TV, entertainment, everything. These people in power, they have advisors, they have psychological advisors, they have spiritual advisors. They know how to hypnotize the public into feeling comfortable with a certain stage that they're at. They know how to target certain people, and so they know how to target these people that that support AOC into staying comfortable at that stage. And that's why, like you said, they were coming up with garbage answers, because that's what they tell themselves in their head over and over again. And they're not open to the criticisms that you were open to when you heard Misty and Fiorella criticizing Bernie Sanders for. Or maybe some of them are, it just they haven't received they haven't come across the right opportunity.
Right.
So it's up to people who are aware, and everyone who's in the chat right now. Shout out to everybody there. Troy, Gamer for Life, Noli, Radical Leftist, right? To plant seeds in these people. Because what I did see is, like, when I would tell them things, like, why do you think that they thought of this last minute? Like, you could see the clip, the face of these people. They didn't know what to say, because it's never come across their head.
Yeah. No, it's like we were talking about earlier, comfort zones, and how they can't possibly think that these people are fallible, that they have any flaws. And if they are, they're just like so minute, and it's just so easy to overlook, because for the greater good, in the grand scheme, they are working for us, and they are just fighting it out for us, helping us all the time. And meanwhile, us outside who are looking in at that bullshit, we're going, the fuck's wrong with you?
Feels like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah, but I've seen that before. I've seen people, but I've seen people just stay with it, that they just will not believe anything else. I'll say. A lot of my religious folks down south, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like they get stuck on this one thing, and you try to tell them, because I've read the Bible a little bit, and I'm not like trying to bust their religious bubbles or nothing, but sometimes they need to know the truth about something, and you try to tell them, like, no, that's not what the Bible says. And I think about that, and I was like, that's kind of like what these people are doing. You're trying to tell them, no, this is actually true. oh, I don't trust your source. No, there's like 4 or 5 sources. Oh, well, they're all liars. They're all just, they're all Nazis. And then Nazis come out. You get called a Nazi. That's like when you've exhausted all the other excuses. You're a right-wing Nazi. You probably have like a blue button-up shirt and a tiki torch. You're a hater. You're just jealous. You're jelly. I'm more peanut butter than jelly. I'm glad you brought up go ahead.
I was going to say, we just always have to be asking ourselves, am I too comfortable where I'm at right now? If I am, like, what am I not seeing?
Right.
If nobody's coming to you with like more information about what's going on, then you either haven't come across it yet, or other people haven't come across it yet, or maybe you are, I don't know. I don't want to say maybe you are at the right spot, because there's always more information to discover.
I think too,
we should never settle. I don't think we should ever settle for any stage of awareness. There's always more information to discover.
There's also the idea of all of the misinformation that's out there too. So like people a lot. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say some of these folks are legit just being led astray. And if there was some way that you could get them to trust you and to trust the information that you're giving them, then they'll change their mind. I go back to the Fee and Misty examples, because they were always straight up, just always the same message that they put out, consistency. Yeah. And you'd see them out, at protests and stuff like that, like I'd seen you guys out at protests too. And it's like, I see those works and I'm thinking to myself, well, they're not asking for money, yet they're putting in all this work. What gives? Oh, maybe they're actually legit. And that's why I said when you talk about works, when you're doing honest works and you're showing people, look, I'm doing this, come join me in doing these works. And then people will tend to think, oh, okay, well, I think this person's legit. I now have a level of trust with this person. And then the more truth that you get, the more trust you get. The more truth, the more trust. But the thing is, you got to get them out of that. You got to get them out of that bubble. That's the hardest part. Is to it's almost like what do they call it? The Stockholm syndrome. Like if you get kidnapped or something, and then all of a sudden you start sympathizing with your captors, right? I think Patty Hearst was she got kidnapped back in the 70s, and then she was actually helping them do some stuff. So, but
or being in a cult.
Yeah, you got to get them out of the cult. You got to get them away from there. It's almost like you got to do an intervention with them. Just take them somewhere nice, like out in the woods or something, to a cabin, and like, oh yeah, we're roasting marshmallows. Oh, let's have some drinks. Hey, listen, you've been doing some stupid shit. You need to learn the truth. Here it is. We're not fucking with you. This is legit. But you can't take everybody out to a nice cabin in the woods. So we have to think of more easier ways to do that. I'm glad you, like I said, I'm glad you brought up the chat a while ago. I've been neglecting them. I call my chat the pit because I like it, a little Mad Max flavor on this show. So let me just shout out everybody. Comrade Carini, Radical Leftist Agenda, Propaganda Live. That's right. Lucky Burrito. Black in the Empire. Thanks, Daryl.
Oh wow.
I know.
Lucky
I don't ever.
Burrito.
I appreciate you, man. You bring some flavor to this show, man. I mean, I like my peeps and all, but usually they're like talking about knitting and or maybe like stuff they can get at the store. They're not listening to this is just a place to hang out for them, which is fine. I got the room. Les Bones, what's up, yo? Propaganda Live, Reef, one of my one and only mod, Steve Wolfbrandt, and who else we got in here? Invalid Arg. Okay. Hello to you. Yeah, that's cool. My boy Gamer for Life, he's here. Steve Wolfbrandt. And Dingo ate me, baby. Hello. That's what that was what I tweeted out last week when all the shit went work. I said, sorry, no show. A dingo ate my baby. Choosy Heretics choose Carnation Revolution. Now we got some Roar Media folks in the house. I see these guys in Roar Media chat.
What's up, Roar?
I love Roar, man. Roar, Oz, and Shonda, and when they do Boomer, was it Beauty and the Boomer?
Beauty and the Boomer.
And he does that crazy face swapping shit, man. Isn't that freaky? It looks like something out of some bad like acid dreams, or like, you know, you just ate something before you went to bed that was spicy, and then you start seeing that shit. I mean, but it looks good. It's just like, whoo, you know. I know what vibe he's going for with that. Well, speaking of creepy, so DC, right? Not the comics, but the District of Columbia. So I am a conspiracy nut, you know. I do have a tinfoil hat somewhere around here. But I'm always just like, I've been to Washington one time. This was like 40 years ago, actually. Was it 40? 35 years ago. Yeah, it was, I was on a high school trip, and we got to eat lunch in the House of Representatives cafeteria.
That sounds like fun.
Did you hear that?
I would love to ask a bunch of questions to those people.
Yeah, I know. My ass wasn't political back then. I was just like, hey, we're out of Mississippi. This is awesome. Free food. What? That's when Trent Lott was our, I don't think he was senator yet. I think he was just a representative at the time. You familiar with Trent Lott?
No. Okay,
so Trent Lott was basically the Mitch McConnell of the day, only he didn't look like a turtle, but he was just, and he was pretty much kind of the same kind of Republican, you know. But like I said, when I was in high school, I wasn't political at all. You know, I was chasing girls, and I wanted to get out of town because we were in Mississippi. You know, it's like small town shit. You don't think about that stuff because that's what parents are for. They think about this shit. But then later, when you're out on your own, and then you just got to start doing shit yourself, then it's like, oh, I better start paying attention to this shit. You know what I mean? So, and then it's sad. You start getting jaded because the more you learn about how shitty the world is, you're like, ugh, why? And it's like, dude, I saw you 5 years ago. You were so happy. What happened? I learned about shit. But are you from DC? Are you like born and raised, or?
I'm born and raised in a county in Maryland that is right above DC.
Okay.
I could
don't give away your location. We have some weirdos in the chat, so you know.
They're not gonna know my exact location.
I mean, you know, idea. If you want to do that, you know, just get up with somebody later. But you know, we don't want to get you in trouble because there's. I mean, I love my chat. Hey, Noli D, what's up? I love my chat, but they're all weirdos. But in a good way. Mad Marxist, what's up, man? So there's symbols all over DC, right? You've been around DC a pretty good bit, right? Besides, besides chasing Congress people, right? So you know we're all like, you know, do you know anything about 33rd degree Masons? Any of that kind of like rabbit hole shit?
I'm not too deep into that rabbit hole. Maybe my friend Shadowban knows more about that. But you mentioned the symbols. That's something that I'm noticing more now. I didn't notice it before. I've been to DC countless times since I was a kid because, you know, I'm like right by here. But it's creepy noticing it now, like years later, like like 2 decades later after going to DC and seeing these statues and stuff, and you're like, hold up, why is this the OAS building? Why does it look like South America? Like the statue that's representing South America, why does the lady look like she's on the defense? And then the North American statue, the lady looks like she's on the offense. And it's like that all over the place. I'm not too informed about what the meaning is behind them. And like I discussed with Marcus and Shadowban when I had them on as guest, and Chris from the Political Matrix, is we don't have to believe in this stuff. I know a lot of us and a lot of leftists are atheists, not necessarily spiritual. I myself am spiritual. We don't have to believe in this stuff. What we have to acknowledge, though, is that there seems to be a lot of evidence to suggest that these people at the top, they seem to believe in it. And they're adding these symbols all over the belly of the beast, the District of Columbia. And it's been there for, what is it now, the 2 centuries and a half? How old is the United States, right?
Yeah.
And then you see similar things like that in like the Vatican and all that, but I'm not too deep into that rabbit hole. I'm just saying this is something to take notice of and look further into.
Yeah, I used to work at a bookstore in L.A. When I lived there, and I would they had this thing where like employees could check out books, right? So you could, I would always be in the they called it speculation, but it was right next to the nonfiction section. So I get some nonfiction books, some biographies and stuff, but then I'd peek over and be like, oh, what's this? And I don't know if I really take stock in a lot of that stuff, because I'm not like down the rabbit hole like, people who are in the know that studied all this stuff. Like there's all kinds of different conspiracy type stuff. I say conspiracy, but only because it actually they do involve more than one person. A lot of these stories that, and so yeah, I kind of got into that a little bit, and then but I was kind of that way when 9/11 happened, because I watched that whole thing the whole day, like them showing like they would the planes going into the buildings, and then the buildings collapsing, and then building 7 was just like, wasn't hit, but that's got to go too, so you start, that's the part of my brain that's the curious part that like your spider sense that says, what, something's not quite right about this, and the official story really isn't convincing me that well, you know what I mean? So it started there, and but I live in New York now, but I wasn't in New York at the time. I was living down south. So I get to LA and I start reading about all this stuff, and I listen to a lot of Jason Bermas, the his 9/11 videos that he did, and Loose Change, that's what they were. I watched those Loose Change videos, and it was he wasn't trying to sway anybody. He was just throwing that information out there, and if you're just somebody that's like picks up on common sense. And so yeah, it was when we went to Washington, I was not, it was the 80s, and I didn't know anything about all that shit. I was just happy. Like I said, it was a school trip. Good to be out of Mississippi. Go up to Yankeeville and, see all the Yankees. And, but now I want to take my girl, down there to, DC, and, just kind of go looking around, not all the tourist traps, but like all the cool little conspiracy type places, check out the symbols and stuff like that. 'Cause I don't know, maybe.
And the positions too.
Right. And the what is
in a certain way?
The pentagram street. What is it, like a thing, and it looks like a pentagram? Yeah, they say it's not a pentagram because the thing doesn't go. And it's like close enough, but it's just that should always just kind of fascinated me, But like I said, I like to learn things, and I like to find honest sources. Obviously, you don't want to hear some bullshit. You hear enough of that every day. But I mean, like, seeing you on video, going after these people, just like Franco the bulldog, just like I ain't done with you. Get your ass over here. It's like you like somebody's mom over there with her shoe in her hand. I said, bitch, I told you to get back over here. I ain't done with you. Get your ass over here. And but what made you that way? What's your Marvel origin story? What got you into activism and stuff like that? How did you get bit by a radioactive protester? What happened?
Marvel origin story.
That's right, baby. We're nerds around here, man.
Yeah, man. You know what's right in front of me right now?
Yes. I made that Marvel. I gotta tell you, I made that before you tell your story. I don't have it queued up, but I did make that Marvel video, and I put you in it too. It was like,
please send me that. I want to see.
Okay, yeah. I think it was on my War Deer Ent, but R.I.P. I don't even know if I did that right, but I do have it. I'll repost it because that was some fun stuff. It had like Vanessa Beeley, and it had you in there, and it had Fee, the combo couch, and it was like dun 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 dun. And I told you I'm nerding out. I gotta go to the disappointment cam because, oh yeah, Spider-Man.
Oh, man. You excited for No Way Home?
I am. Did you see the Eternals?
I did. Yeah, I liked it. Then at first I was like, wow, the critics really hate this movie, seeing that Rotten Tomato score. And then I saw it and I was like, these critics took a major L. But then I asked other people, and then other people also don't like it. But then there's other people who are like me and say, oh, I loved it. It seems to be a mixed bag. But I mean,
it's the same thing with
understand to an extent.
Right, yeah. I mean, like with to me, like these new Star Treks that had come out, right? I'm a Trekkie guy. I like the original one. I like the Next Generation. I never watched DS9 or Voyager or I watched Enterprise, but I want to get into those too because I liked the writing. I liked what they did. Yeah, the special effects were, but it's like late '80s, early '90s. They had to make do with what they had. But this new stuff now, they're able to actually do stuff with special effects and stuff, and it seems like the writing has fell off, or at least a lot of people complain about that. And I was like, okay, I can look past that if it's nerdy, if it looks nerdy goodness, and you blow up some shit in space, that's fine with me. It doesn't have to be canon or anything like that, But you have the purists who are like, and there's probably the same thing with the Eternals. They're just like, oh, well, so and so was this in.
People went in with expectations, and when I went in, I told my wife, I'm like, I'm going in with zero expectations. Like after seeing like what the critics were saying, it seemed like they were also expecting something. It was like, it did not feel like it was in the Marvel universe. It's like, okay, well maybe they're trying something different. You guys were saying for years about how they're all formulaic, and now they're trying to step away from that. So let's see what happens. And yeah, I just went in not expecting anything, and I enjoyed it, and I wasn't attached to the comics either, with the Eternals. They're not like you if you know Marvel, the Eternals aren't like that significant, right? Compared to Spider-Man, the Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, right?
Right.
So I didn't go in with too many expectations, and I ended up liking the movie. I like the effects and everything. But yeah. Everyone's different, I guess.
A lot of times, if I haven't read the source material and I'll just watch the movie, I'll enjoy it. And then if I go back and read the source material, I go, oh well, then this book is much better. But that's pretty rare. I'm more of a cinephile than I am a reader. I used to read a lot when I was younger, but now it's like I want to just watch shit. I don't want to do this. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it's just not for me.
There's a time and place for both.
Exactly. Like I'm on a train or something reading, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I just like to feel like these characters in this universe is existing in our universe. And that's what these live action movies do, is make it feel like, oh man, it's happening in our world.
Did you?
But yeah,
did you? Oh, I was gonna say, did you see any
I
of the TV? Did you see any of the TV shows?
Yeah, I
Like,
did. Yeah,
did you like those?
Yeah, I'm excited for Hawkeye too. And the ones for next year, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. What else is coming out? Probably Secret Wars will be, or Secret Invasion will be out next year as well. I'm really excited for them. It's my escapism, right?
Yeah.
We got to have a little bit of that with how depressing this bad cartoon that we live in this universe.
I tell you, that's kind of the reason for this show, right? I think I was telling Fee that I said, what the shows you guys do are very important, right? You're spitting out the truth, and the thing is, the truth can be depressing as fuck. All right, so it's like, okay, yes, I know. It's kind of like you got to take your medicine. So what I'm just like a little bit of sugar in the medicine. So I have folks like you come on and we talk about important stuff, but then we also get folks to see like another side of you that you don't really feel comfortable doing on your own show because, maybe you don't want to, it doesn't really go with the topics that you're doing, that sort of thing. So it's like, I told her, I said, this place is like you guys are like the workplace and I'm the bar that you come to after work so you can decompress and have a couple beers and sing some karaoke or some shit or whatever the hell you want to do. So I feel like that's my place in this space, to try to help, because like you said, you have to, yes, it's good to be serious about things and make sure that what you're doing is important and not wrong. That's a constant struggle between, am I doing right? Am I doing wrong? And you get stressed out and you're like, man, I just want to go on a TV show and talk about Marvel shit for a few minutes, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming on and telling me about that. So now, after all the Marvel goodness, what is your Marvel story? Dun, dun, dun.
I think I was always like, I like to expose people to other perspectives that they may have not heard before that I felt are closer to the truth. Like, when it came to music and stuff, I'll be like, oh, like the mainstream stuff that, my friends or other people who I'm sitting with would like. I'm like, oh, how could you like that? And then we get into debates about like music quality, like so there was always a little bit of that, right? I always have felt like an urge to say something that the other person may not know. My quote unquote political awakening was in 2016 with Bernie Sanders, like how it was for a lot of people. I would watch TYT at the time and all that. Of course, that was a gateway. That was only the beginning, I would say, of like the rabbit hole or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know if that's even getting into the rabbit hole. I think that's just like a pathway that can help take you to the rabbit hole. I don't know. But I realized that the reason why we don't get anything good, we didn't get anything good with under Barack Obama, who I had in like passive support for prior to 2016 and 2015. So I was like, yeah, things aren't really changing under Obama. So then I realized, oh, it's because, the corporations run everything. Then I started watching channels like Kyle Kalinske, Secular Talk, Humanist Report, the Jimmy Dore Show. I've only one of those I'm still subscribed to, obviously, Jimmy Dore. And then I took a pause from, it was the beginning of 2017 is when I stopped watching political stuff because I got a little bored of it, and I was just like, it's just going to be so long until Bernie runs again. Whatever, I'll just take some time off. I was also going through some stuff at the time. So I went from a quarter of the way into 2017 into 2018 of just like not focusing on political stuff, but I did focus more on spirituality stuff since I was going through stuff. Then in 2018, I started listening to political stuff again. I found the people who I work with now in the MCSC network. I found Nico House. I found the Combo Couch. I started listening to Jimmy Dore again. I started listening to, at the time, like Graham Elwood. And so I started discovering more things. I started reading more. And I was still seeing people that either didn't care enough about what was going on, or people that were still supporting all these corporate candidates, you know, like Pete Buttigieg and all those people. And I also saw a lot of infighting, you know, with the Bernie and Tulsi crowd. And I thought there's not enough people that are trying to unite these two factions enough. And the way that you can unite these factions is by sticking to objective information. So my friends at the time, Pedro and Brooks, who are also now part of the MCSC network, they had their podcast called Hear Me Out Podcast. And they had their YouTube channel. And I said, hey, you guys talk about pop culture, you guys talk about sports. Why don't we try to inform your audience about what's happening in the political world? I wanted to act as that gateway for people who are apolitical or who care more about pop culture and all that, and be like, hey, look, this is why this stuff matters to you. So I joined them. And what was the trigger point for me is seeing all these memes in the beginning of 2021 about World War III, because after the assassination of Soleimani, people were making all these memes, but not understanding how we got to where we got to. So I wanted to inform, you know, all those apolitical people who are making memes and stuff about what's going on. And so the first thing I did was I went on the ground to a direct action event that was happening outside the White House. It was organized by Answer Coalition and Code Pink. And I just had my phone to record, and my friend Pedro let me borrow his camera. And I had my wife, who at the time was my fiance, to help me out with recording stuff. And I saw Medea Benjamin there. And I said, oh man, I can get her perspective, and she can say, you know, how we got to where we got to. Like she can she can articulate all the details of why it's important to be outside protesting and how we got to where we got to. I saw Max Blumenthal and Anya Parampil there as well. Although Max Blumenthal, a bunch of people were talking to him, so I didn't get a chance to interview him, but he did sign my book. But I did interview Anya. And she explained, you know, how we got to where we got to. And I wanted to do more of that. I wanted to go on the ground and show what's happening to people and interview people. But because of the Rona and because of the lockdowns, I couldn't do that as much. So I started relying on more reporting or commentary, and I started doing that for the HMO channel. But then that content started overwhelming that channel. So then I made my own channel, Franc Analysis. And that was about 2 months after I started making solo videos for HMO and panel videos with HMO, like with the, you know, Pedro and Brooks. So when I started Franc Analysis, I had more liberty to do what I wanted to do. I started collaborating with more people. I became more of this community, and I realized that, you know, maybe some people were a little more shy about subscribing to that channel if it's not entirely politically focused, the HMO channel. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where I got to with Franc Analysis. I still wanted to do on the ground work. So with the BLM stuff, I was going out on the ground. If I heard about any events, I would go out on the ground. learn how to live stream and all that. I got connected with more people and interviewed some of these people who have been doing this a lot longer than me. And just gradually, the channel just kept growing, and we're still growing despite all the obstacles, all the censorship, the demonetization.
That YouTube suppression too,
I was only monetized for like not even 2 months, but regardless, we're still gonna push. I get a warning, I get demonetized, I get a strike, whatever. I'm still gonna keep pushing.
That was somebody on Twitter was saying that today, that that's how you know you're doing something good, is when they start fucking with you. You know, you're pushing the right buttons. You know, I was working at Whole Foods about a year and 2 months ago, and here in New York, you could normally, if you quit a job, you can't get unemployment, but because of the Rona, they were doing a special case for that. So I got on unemployment, and then but I don't really spend money. You know, it covered my rent, you know, and the things that I needed. And so it turned out I was getting, you know, a lot of people were saying they were getting more money on unemployment. But I took the money and I saved it because I knew it wasn't going to last forever. But then we got the stimulus checks under Trump, and I always tell people, like, I kind of jumped the step of using my phone, and I said, fuck it, I'm gonna build my computer. I'm gonna get the parts. I'm gonna get some, you know, decent equipment to do a camera, microphone, stuff like that. And so I always tell people, yeah, Trump bought my rig, and they're like, ooh, I'm like, yeah, Joe Biden didn't, but Trump did. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, you know, he's still the devil, but he's the devil with a checkbook. Anyway, so I missed doing real, like, journalism, like working with journalists. And like when I was coming up in news down south, I eventually got to a point, I worked at this little place on the Gulf Coast, WXXV, and I was the executive producer / assistant news director. And we literally built that place from the ground up as far as like the newsroom's concerned. You know, we installed all the computers and stuff ourselves. We built the sets, we painted them and stuff, you know, because we were trying to save money. The station wasn't like a huge station or anything. It was just a little bitty country TV station, and there was like this mammoth TV station across town. But the first like few months we were there, and everybody was working together and putting everything together, and then that first newscast, and it was just it was an hour-long newscast, and we just jam-packed that thing with as many local stories as we could. You know, not like meaningless stuff either, just like stuff that the big guys across town weren't going to cover. You know, so we put all that shit in the rundowns and stuff like that, and we started getting feedback from the community saying, thank you, nobody's covering this, nobody wants to cover this, you know. And so now you fast forward about 20 years, and I'm seeing the same thing with you guys, you know, like with you and you know, and the networks that have been formed now. There's just like so many people doing this work out here, and I feel blessed to be a part of it. You know, even though I'm just doing my little silly part, you know, I'm still trying to shout out. You know, I also try to broadcast everybody as like on Twitter and any kind of social media I can get on, because I used to be like super on Facebook all the time. I wasn't even on Twitter. And I do my political rants and stuff on there. Republicans are bad, Democrats are bad, you're all insane for like being in these cults. And then it started getting to the point where people were just arguing these word salad things, like we were talking about, these nonsense answers to stuff, and you're like, I don't want to deal with this. So I went over to Twitter, and then I was like, oh shit, there's a whole bunch of me's over here. So I think I found my spot, you know, and that's where I started there, and I started cultivating relationships with people, and I wanted to do this, and you know, and then now it's come full circle. Like you said, you and I we just see each other on Twitter or whatever. Now we can actually talk face to face. We can talk about important things, but we can also talk about not important things, but kind of are important for your well-being. You know, entertainment, you do need a certain modicum of entertainment in your life to function. Otherwise, you're just going to be a nervous wreck, and and then you're not going to be productive. You're not going to want to do anything because you're just so crippled by, you know. So you need to have that balance.
A curmudgeon, you know? And you can separate the good messaging from the bad messaging. Since the Pentagon does have their hands on, you know, what Hollywood does, the writers and directors can still find a way to put a good message out there. For example, Captain America challenging the authorities and exposing the truth about the government, right? Or exposing the truth about S.H.I.E.L.D., right? That was corrupted by Hydra, right? He went against the powers. So there you can get influence from these people who act heroic in these movies, and get influence from, you know, what I watch in anime, you know, people listening to their intuition and doing what they think is best. Like there's even some deep philosophy in anime. Like, for example, in Full Metal Alchemist, which, man, that would take me like a whole deep conversation in order to get into.
Next time you come on, we'll just
really think about that.
Yeah, next time you come on, all we'll do is a show about Full Metal Alchemist. I roll like that, because I want to know about that stuff. But please continue.
But yeah, you can still separate the good messaging from the bad messaging from this, from these movies or shows, whatever it is that you watch for escapism. And there's even some that have like crazy messaging that's like really good. Like V for Vendetta, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Right, you've seen that movie, right?
Oh yeah. Remember the 5th of November. Yeah, what's his face? Who's the guy who plays V? It's he was in The Matrix. Mr. Anderson. You know what I'm talking about. Hugo Weaving.
Shit, I forgot his name.
Hugo Weaving. Yeah, but that whole movie is just yeah, I in fact I watch it every November 5th. I watched it the other day, so me and the missus. Yeah, but you know, but like I said, you can watch it anytime. But yeah, and that movie's not exactly like super recent either. You know, I think it came out like
2006, or it was 2005 or 2006.
15 years ago, yeah, and it still rings true today. It probably more so today, the way things are going. You know, especially with all the oppression, the mandates, and I just saw this thing on Twitter today. It was Gene Simmons, one of these old farts that was in that group, rock group Kiss, and he was like, "Yeah, anti-vaxxers are bad people." And then I was watching all I was reading all the comments under. It's like, I can't believe I would ever agree with, you know, Gene Simmons, the Trump voter, but here we are, you know. And I'm like, really?
Oh God.
Yeah, at that whole, and then it brings you back to that whole cult mentality too. It's like nobody wants to learn anything. They don't want to know the truth about the jibby jab, because they feel like, oh well, when we were kids, we got the jibby jab, and you know, it was no big deal.
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. You don't have the years of research behind it. It's still experimental. Yeah, and you try and tell people that, and they're like, no, but the FDA and the CDC
said for 20 years. I was like, that's not it. And do you know what the results were for those tests? Did you know that those were negative? Did you know that it was for another strain? Did you know that the technology was different for those tests? Did you know that they didn't even run animal trials?
But Franco, that's inconvenient. It's inconvenient to their comfort. It's like, oh God, I gotta get out of my comfort zone and go learn some shit. Fuck that. I'm sure the government's right. You know, it's that kind of thing. You're like, come on. You know, you just want to, like, come on, it's like a dog that's under the house and he's scared or she's scared, and you're like, you gotta like coax him out. You gotta go, come on, puppers.
Thankfully, more people are waking up to it, because last year I was saying this stuff and people were hating me for it. Like even people who saw through Russiagate, there's still people who saw through Russiagate who are not seeing through this mandate stuff. But thankfully more people are coming around now that Jimmy Dore is talking about it. But he fell for it last year, even though there were people that were telling him to see through it and were giving him information. He had to go through his own experience of getting negative adverse effects after he took the jab, after he took both of the jabs. Also, Max Blumenthal giving him more information about it as well.
And he talked to some doctor on there too. I can't remember the guy's name, but and it seemed like the more people
Robert
he talked
Malone.
to, right, that's who it was. And it seemed like the more people he was talking to that were in the know, that weren't trying to, like, you know, make a buck off the thing. It seems like those people had the dirt that everybody needed to know. But of course, everybody wanted to make money. So, shh, no, that horse paste. It's horse paste. Why are you taking animal shit? It's
Why are you
know,
drinking toilet fluid? Right? Why are you drinking fluid that is used in the toilet? Why are you drinking fluid that's used in car engines?
Exactly, right.
H2O, you can get poisoning from that if you drink too much of it.
Yeah, it was, oh my God. Oh, it's just, and it's still going on. It's like, here we are, like, what, about a couple of years in now, and it's like, this shit, it seems like it, you would think everybody would be like, okay, we actually know more, but it seems like there was even more misinformation, and now you have more of these dumbasses that are just thinking like, oh, well, you know, just get the jab, and then, you know, you be invincible, and you can, like, climb trees and, like, time travel and shit. Like, no, none of this shit happens, dude. All it does is, like, maybe it keeps you out of the hospital. Maybe. I was talking to somebody, they said, oh, well, if you're vaccinated and you get COVID and you give it to somebody else, then it's like the virus is coded in this protective thing. So, like, if you give it to somebody else, it won't be as bad for them as if you were, you know, you didn't get the jab. And I'm like,
it's moving the goalposts.
I said,
they don't even know what they're talking about.
I said, who told you that horse shit? And they said, well, I know you're not going to believe me because it was a doctor on TV, and then I just heard
then you got to look at the information where that doctor got from.
Exactly.
But you don't just stop. You don't just stop at listening to authority. You have to look at where that authority is getting their information from, and then base your conclusions off of that. And, like, what's the whole purpose of vaccines? Right? It's supposed to mimic natural immunity. Mm-hmm. You get infected with something, your body learns about it. Your cells learn about it. You have antibodies and you have memory B and T cells that remember the protein tagging of these viruses or bacteria or whatever. Vaccines are supposed to mimic that process. You inoculate people with a small dose of a virus. Now, it's supposed to be a preventative thing, right? The whole purpose of a vaccine is for prevention. Are these vaccines actually preventing disease, or are we seeing that people are getting sick anyway after taking it?
Well,
so it's not doing its job.
Right, and they even changed the definition of what a vaccine is too. They changed like in the dictionary or dictionaries. I think like the CDC or somebody did that. This year they changed it. Like it says,
moving.
Yeah, it was straight up. They basically tore down the goalpost, went to another stadium like across the country, and put the goalpost there. That's how far they moved it. It's like, no, a vaccine is supposed to prevent it. Like a polio vaccine keeps you from getting polio, right? So if it's a boogie woogie vaccine, then it's got to prevent the boogie woogie. But it doesn't, and you can still catch it and spread it. So this part of the show will probably be well, it's not demonetized. I'm not making money off of this, but I'm sure YouTube will try to fuck with me.
I don't think they'll spot it because
we're too deep in.
Because they'll see the title. They'll see the title. They're not going to know that we talked about it.
I feel like we're hiding
using code words like the Rona and all that.
I know, right? It's like we're like the underground or something from, slavery days. We're having to use code names and stuff because we don't want the officials to catch us, to keep us from trying to help these people. It's like, it's just, and then but meanwhile, these fuckers get to lie all the time and nothing happens to them because the people that are protecting them are lying too. And then the mainstream media is lying too. And it's just, it's very frustrating.
Yo, speaking of the Rona, Kim Iverson is keeping the Hill alive. Like that show Rising, she's really keeping that show.
She's
alive.
The one making it rise.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now
she holds it down probably even better. No, I'm gonna say it. She holds it down better than Sagar and Crystal ever did. You get more information, valuable information from Kim Iverson than you got from Crystal and Sagar.
And she's pretty much staying to the she basically hasn't changed from her own show, right? I mean, she was doing that on her own show. Mm-hmm. So, but you got Ryan Grimm's, autopilot from Airplane's ass up in there and his bad haircut. And then I don't know the other dude. I at this point, I haven't seen The Hill fully since Crystal and Sagar left. And I haven't really seen Crystal and Sagar either since they got their own thing. Breaking Points. I watched a little bit of it, but I wasn't like, oh well, they're just lying all the time. It's just one of those natural. There's only so much time in the day.
Yeah, it's just milquetoast. If you're gonna go look for information, you're gonna want to find the best quality information that's out there. So you're not gonna choose to watch Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar. You're gonna choose to watch other shows that have a deeper analysis.
Right. It's very safe, and what you guys are out there doing is dangerous because you're telling the truth, and the truth these days is quite dangerous,
Plus, Sagar now is giving a lot of corporate talking points about China, and
you think
it's no surprise given his origin working for these right-wing funded think tanks that he worked for.
Do you think they're getting some secret
and that they funded for his college years?
Oh, right. I was going to say, do you think they're getting a little secret corporate backing like TYT and Intercept get, or do you think that's just like all Sagar saying, nah, we got to keep it safe, so we don't lose,
I could only speculate.
Yeah, I mean,
could only speculate. But what I can say conclusively, though, is that their show is really milquetoast. And that's just me putting it the nicest way. The next level up about my actual feelings about that show was to say that it's trash.
I'm an aesthetics kind of guy, too, when it comes to those kind of shows. And I didn't like the fact that I would watch the clips and then they just go to black at the end of the clip, right in the middle of a sentence or something. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? So I got kind of turned off by that. But I will say, I used to watch, before Bernie started running, before he ran in 2016, I used to watch Rachel Maddow, and I'll be honest with you, the only reason I stopped watching her show at the time, because I was watching it on iTunes. That once the show... Aesthetics? Well, yeah. And the lying later, but no, this is the fucked up part. So I used to watch, I didn't have cable, right? So I would watch it, I would watch the replay the next morning. They broadcast it live that night, and then the next morning I'd watch it on iTunes. The whole episode. I'd watch the whole thing in the morning, right? And but then they stopped running the whole show on iTunes and just doing like these little bullshit clips. I said, well, I ain't watching it. And I haven't watched the show shit since. And then, you know, when Bernie ran, and then that's when MSNBC started, like, I'm sure it was probably before then, but that's when they really just started going to shit. And then Russiagate, and then, you know, then it's just like pretty much like Weekly World News with Bat Boy. It's basically what MSNBC turned into, just like the National Enquirer, you know, the Steele dossier. Ooh, we're gonna. What is it? It's the shoe's gonna. The other shoe's gonna.
In.
The walls are closing in. The other shoe's gonna drop. Any day now, we're gonna get that orange bastard. And nope, never did. Never happened. Dude, I'm so sorry. I've kept you an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, dang, I didn't even feel like it.
I know, right? Everybody says they come on here, we're just like shooting the shit and talking. Next thing you know, it's like 3 days later, and you know, you felt like you took some peyote that somebody slipped you in your drink. And wait a minute, that was something else. Never mind. Just forget those last few seconds. But yeah, man, that's why I like doing this shit. I always want to I type talk to you guys, but I want to talk to you guys too, and because you're interesting. You know, you do the work, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. This isn't heartburn. This is love burn for you, brother. And keep on doing what you're doing. And speaking of what you're doing, you are going to be part of the General Strike Summit this weekend. Like we said, it starts tomorrow at 10 a.m., 12 hours a day of live streams, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When are you on?
Sunday at 11 a.m. I'll be on the show with Ricky Ranson. I believe we're going to be talking about things related to the March for Medicare for All. But I gave a little teaser, I guess, of what I'm going to talk about. But it's going to... I'm going to make the emphasis of how I stand in solidarity with everything. The whole purpose of the general strike is to talk about how we need it, but I will give that push, that nudge about how we need to do more than just that. And we really need to understand how our enemies are operating, just like in The Art of War, you know, what it said, know thy enemy, right? What exactly are they scheming behind the scenes? What's their agenda? So I'll elaborate more on that. But War Deer, Uncle Warren, thanks a lot for having me on. I do gotta head out. I gotta wake up early tomorrow. But I had a blast, man. Thank you for having me on.
I appreciate it. And if I liked kids, I would adopt you. But unfortunately, I don't want to ruin your life. So, you know, I'm pretty sure you got a pretty good deal where you're at. And this apartment's pretty small. So even though it looks like, you know, I'm in the high rise, you know, having mimosas and watching the view. Nah, that's not happening. But I appreciate you. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch the summit all weekend. Help support my brothers and sisters that are all in this together. And you got anything else going on? You got any more shows lined up next week, or just your usual thing? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Franc Analysis on YouTube, on Rockfin, and on Odyssey. You'll find more information about the Rona on the Rockfin channel, because my channel is very much targeted and shadow banned, and any video in which I talk about the Rona gets flagged. But yeah, you can find me there. I will have more guests on the show. I had Max Blumenthal on the show recently. I have panel discussions with very intelligent people, other journalists, commentators. I love building a unity. I love bringing people together, because we should all be exchanging ideas with each other and helping to raise each other's consciousness. So again, Uncle Warren, thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks for doing what you do, brother. And our numbers do grow, it seems like, each day, you know. And I'm always pessimistic, you know, because I'm a realist, but I like to leave a little candle on the windowsill, and maybe hope will come by and hook us up with a solid, you know, and we can turn this thing around someday. If not for my generation, or even your generation, maybe the next generations to come, we can build that foundation together. Thanks a lot, brother. My buzz is worn off. I think I'm gonna get a little bit more of that stuff. It's really smooth. I'll tell you, man. I don't have the alcohol burn or nothing. Daddy might get in a little trouble tonight. All right, have a good one, and I'll see you on Sunday on the Magic Picture Box.
See ya, and see everyone. Take care.
Yes, sir. And let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Steve Cutler Live. I'll be watching your show once it comes on tonight. I was listening last night. I just love the music, man. You got where are you? You got Lucky over here. Like y'all trying to make Hollywood Squares or some shit. That's fine. You got 2 boxes. You just need 9 of them? You need 7 more to go. Let me run down the list of champs in the chat. Gamer for Life, Lucky Burrito, Steve, Black in the Empire, Daryl. Thanks for coming out. Choosy Heretics Choose. Carnation Revolution now. Thank you. Noli D. Noli D. I'm gonna write a country song about Noli D. Do Noli D. Noli D. She only had 1 eye, but she could see. It's Noli D. All right, that was horrible. I'm going to blame the delicious booze. Who else we got in there? Gamer for Life, Propaganda Live, Mystery. I have to sing everybody's names like I'm a female Steph Zamorano. So she has a pretty good voice. Hey, Rem, thanks for coming out. I appreciate you. Troy C. To Shining Sea. I'm getting a little sloppy. At least I'm not baked out of my mind like I was with Reef the last couple shows. Ooh, boy, that was terrible. Lesson learned, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, all right. So I had to get one of those in. Who else we got in the mix? I know Spittin' was in there. I saw you in here. Reef Breland, my knight in shining armor. Who else we got in here? Man, 11 viewers. That is so crazy. I know you came out to see Franco. That's fine. I ain't pretty. I never said I was. I think I got Independent Left News. Hello there, sir. Doing good things. Let's run that down again. So, like I said, part of the Indie News Network, and all these wonderful people here. There are 16 of us just to start out, you know, and I feel good energy from every one of these people up here. Robert Durden, Tara Reid, Elias Cepeda, Be the Change, Millennial Splaining, Blue Moon Red Wine, Gnomes for Truth, Kamau, Maquano, and that's hard to even say sober. I'm sorry, Kyle. I'm sorry, dude. Taname's Diary, Noli D, Reef After Dark, Black in the Empire, Indie Left News. Indie Left News, Indie and Reef have, how do we miss that? On Sunday morning midnight, Saturday night midnight, you know, that kind of thing. It's hard to figure out midnight. How to say that to people. The Dissident and Kobe from the Pro Peace Report. So yeah, good things are in the works. I think INN is going to be an awesome network, and we're looking forward to working with all the other networks and independent folks out there that want to do good things, that want to help people, want to make a real difference, because these elected motherfuckers are not going to do anything for us but put on a puppet show. Put on a show. If you like the Little Rascals and how Spanky would get everybody together and have these variety shows, and he'd charge like buttons and onions at the door because it was like the Depression. You know, if you're into that sort of thing, great. I'm into truth. I think we've had enough funsies. It's time to help people learn the truth. It's going to be difficult for them, but they need to learn the truth. They need to grow. and they need to grow with this knowledge. And once they start doing that, then they'll be able to help us help other people. And maybe, just maybe, we can fix this shit. But who knows? So, like I said, check out Fred Hampton Leftist this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Scores of people are going to be on there. And it's going to be a great educational experience, I believe, and a good experience of camaraderie and getting everybody together, because it's Fred Hampton Leftists and a whole bunch of people, like I said, from Indie News Network are going to be there. Mikasa Sukasa, Fred Hampton Leftists, obviously. I believe Hardlands Media is going to be in the mix, and just a whole bunch of your favorite lefties that are out there doing the work. So, you've heard me yammer enough. I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. I appreciate y'all. I love every one of you. I love all my indie people. You're good folks. And like I said, next week, next Wednesday, I believe, I'm not quite sure. I think it's 7 o'clock Eastern, my time. I'm going to be on Comrade Misty's show, Bitch. So apparently we're going to complain about things. I'll complain about knee pain, and I think I might have a bunion. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if she can do anything about it, but we can bitch about it. And then a week from today, hopefully, third time's a charm, we're going to have Rick Overton, comedic legend, actor, Emmy winner, too. He'll be here, and we'll have some sillies for you again. So, thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. Love you. And as always, don't forget to wash your ass. Good night, everybody.